Nyaya Constantine from the United Kingdom, an international lawyer at Barrister 33 Bedford Row Chambers, London. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Good morning from Cyprus, where I'm currently based. So it's good morning here and good afternoon, I understand, where most of you are. Thank you for the opportunity to speak for this very important day, the International Peace Day. Every year, this day offers us a moment of reflection. It's a pause because we've got to look beyond the borders, beyond the politics and beyond our daily routines. And to remember that peace is not simply the absence of war. It is the presence of justice, it is the presence of dignity, it is the presence of equality, and of course, it is the presence of humanity. But this year, this very moment in history, the reflection feels heavier, more urgent, and far more complex. We are not well. The world is not well. From the devastation in Sudan and in Palestine and in Myanmar and in many parts of the world, the erosion of democratic institutions and long-standing democracies, we are witnessing not just violence, but a crisis of values. The structures we once relied on to preserve peace are strained, questioned, and at times even weaponized. In times like this, many people ask, what can I do? How can I make a difference? But those of us who are gathered today as lawyers, advocates, educators, human rights defenders, judges, we cannot afford to ask that question passively because we have tools, we have knowledge, and we have responsibilities. Peace is not something that simply happens. It must be designed, it must be defended and sustained. And we, as the lawyers, we are the architects of that design. Let me be very clear. The rule of law is not a neutral concept. It is not enough for laws to exist. They must be just, accessible, and equitably applied. And that's where we come in. We defend the due process. We challenge arbitrary detention. We protect the rights of minorities, the displaced, the voiceless, the stateless. We speak truth to power, often at a great personal cost. And while soldiers may fight in wars, we as lawyers, we must fight for peace in courtrooms, in acts, in refugee camps, in front of tribunals, whether there's local or international. You may ask, why now? Why this emphasis now? Aren't lawyers important in all times? Yes, but today, the very principles that underpin peace, truth, accountability, and democracy are under global assault. Disinformation is not just confusing the public, it's delegitimizing international law. Human rights are not just being violated, they are being reframed as threats to power. And the international community, including institutions we once trusted, is struggling to hold even the worst violations accountable. Meanwhile, mass atrocities continue, and far too often with legal justification. We must be clear. Genocide, apartheid, ethnic cleansing, systematic oppression, war crimes, crimes against humanity are not political issues. They are legal crimes. And when we as lawyers hesitate to call things by the rightful names, we become complicit in the silence that enables suffering. We need you. Because we're facing not only violence, but a well-dressed, well-educated, and well-spoken violence. We're up against people whose education has not expanded their compassion, but has narrowed the imagination. People whose degrees are used not to liberate truth, but to rationalize injustice. And when education begins to shrink humanity rather than expand it, that is not learning, that is indoctrination. And that is exactly why we need lawyers who do not simply interpret the law, but challenge it, question it, and transform it when it fails to serve humanity. Following the reflections from my esteemed colleagues today, who have meaningfully invoked Mahatma Gandhi, Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, I am also reminded of the deep relationship between Dharma and justice. between action and intention. These ancient texts, through spiritual in nature, continue to echo in our legal frameworks today. Whether we speak the Geneva Conventions, which is a series of 4 treaties established in 1949 and expanded by 3 additional protocols to form the basis of international humanitarian law, setting out the standards for humanitarian treatment for people in war. The Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, or the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And the same question remains. How do we uphold dignity in the face of destruction? How do we protect life when the law is no longer enough? As part of my own sadhana, I have dedicated a portion of my career to educate the next generation of international criminal lawyers. I believe strongly that pursuit of peace must be passed on, not as theory, but as practice, not as history, but as a responsibility. My forthcoming book on how to become an international criminal lawyer is a humble attempt to guide aspiring practitioners along the path. If you wish to be informed when it's going to be published, please drop me a line. But in that same spirit, lawyers must become the frontline workers for peace. And this means advocating for international accountability, even when it's politically uncomfortable, defending the integrity of elections whenever democracy is at risk, challenging unjust laws, not just enforcing them, teaching the next generation of lawyers to be courageous, conscious, and globally minded. It also means standing in active solidarity with lawyers around the world who are persecuted, imprisoned, even assassinated simply for doing their jobs. And I represented quite a few of them. Let us remember, in many places, being a human rights lawyer is not just difficult, it can be deadly. We must reject the notion that peace is the reward for patience. Peace is not a byproduct of diplomacy. It is a product of deliberate action. It requires systems, protections, and vigilance. And just like any structure, peace without foundation will collapse. And that foundation is justice. And justice does not happen without people willing to stand up and speak out, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unsafe. So today, on International Peace Day, I offer here not just a speech, but a call of action to all of you, to every lawyer, to every law student, to every judge, every advocate, every human rights defender. Decide which side of the history you will stand on. Neutrality in the face of oppression is not professionalism, it is abandonment. Silence in the face of cruelty is not wisdom, it is complicity. And if we wait for peace to arrive before we do work, peace will never come. And yet, despite the worst, the setbacks, the sidelines to democracy, the failures, I consume a lot of hope. Not because I believe peace is inevitable, but because I believe lawyers can make peace inevitable when they choose to be more than advisors, more than interpreters, when they choose to defend dignity. We are not spectators of this moment in history. We are participants. We are builders. We are protectors. And if we use our voices, our knowledge, and our courage, not just for our clients, but for the future, the peace is not a dream. Peace is a direction. So let us all walk towards it together. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. And thank you for being amongst you. I've heard all your speeches and I'll embrace and echo all of them. Thank you ever so much.